Okay, question one. We'll talk through them and then we'll go from there. Today I am podcasting because today's, especially the beginning part, is pretty important and I think will help. Number one, the null hypothesis for our particular experiment is that the mean test score is 20 if the 99% confidence interval contains 18 to 24. Do we have evidence to reject the null hypothesis? Yes or no, and why? Sarah?
No, because 20 is within our interval, and we're at the 99% confidence. So.
Yes, so because it's between it, do we have convincing evidence?
No.
No, so we fail to reject, okay? Reject the null,
The whole.
okay?
The
Very
whole.
good. Yeah, Tony?
If the mean score is like 17, do we have convincing evidence?
If it was 17, yes, we would, because it falls outside of our 99% confidence interval, okay? Does that make sense? Just as a picture, maybe this will help. And I think, by the way, I'm going over these three, because these three will be related to 2 questions on the test. That's why I want to make sure we can go through it. The test is Monday. So if we look at this, whatever the center is, 99% confidence is the area of the middle 99%. If your value falls either here or here, that's the remaining 1%, and we say that then it is statistically significant. Okay? Y'all good on that? Cool. Part 2. Yeah, Tony, go ahead.
One question. Like if the sample mean is like 17, but confidence interval, like confidence level is like 80%, do we still have convincing evidence?
Probably won't do that. I probably won't do that. Usually you'll see it as 90%, 95%, or 99%. I would say that I don't have enough information in what you've given to me to be able to say whether it is or isn't. Does that make sense? Great question. Question 2. Which of the following for the difference between means, okay, represents a significant difference at the 0.05 level? Question, what is my null hypothesis here? We'll say that it's mu1 and mu2.
mu1 minus mu2 equals 0.
That's good stuff. Good job, Michael. And that's our null hypothesis, right? So we're looking for something that contains 0 or doesn't contain 0. What are y'all thinking? Doesn't contain 0 to be statistically significant. Do y'all follow me on that? Kind of the same idea, except 95% instead of 99, okay? So if it falls outside of it, if 0 falls outside of my confidence interval, we say it's statistically significant. So check all that apply. We would say what?
The first and fourth.
First and fourth, very good. Good, Chloe. And would the second and third be statistically significant or not be statistically significant? Not, because it contains 0. Y'all follow me on this? Okay? Y'all tracking?
No.
Lindsay.
Wait, why did you get those? I just understood it now.
Yeah, so the first and fourth is statistically significant,
Statistically significant.
meaning we can reject the,
Oh.
Null hypothesis.
that's right,
Oh, yeah.
reject the null, very good, and therefore we are good to go, okay? That makes sense. Good stuff. Michael, are you good on that? I thought you said no. That's
We're
what I was
good.
asking. Cool. Question 3. It's a question statement, I think. If 95% confidence interval contains 0, will the 99% confidence interval also contain 0?
Yes.
Why?
Because it just gets bigger.
Yeah, it gets bigger, right? So if it contains it at 95, it will contain it at 99. What if it contains it at 99? Will it contain it at 95?
Possibly.
Possibly, just depends, right? Depends on where it lands, and we'd have to have more information, okay? Good. Questions on this? Y'all get the combination, the back and forth between it? Okay, so this next part, the reason why I wanted to get started quickly is I was really thinking, just in looking at the quizzes, we're struggling between the tests, aren't we? Can we just be honest on that? Are y'all struggling on that? Like when I use each test, you're starting to combine a significance test and confidence interval. Not that that's all bad, it's just I want to make sure we can kind of define it, all right? Would y'all agree on this? So I will allow you to do whatever you want in what we're about ready to talk through. We're going to have a little bit of a conversation, and you can either take a picture afterwards, or you can even take notes on this on a separate sheet. It's up to you, okay? All right, so let's talk about this. We have kind of 2 worlds, right? We talked about this. What's world 1?
Mean world.
Yeah, we have mean world, right? We have this mu thing, right? What's world 2?
Proportion.
Yeah, proportion world, okay? And I'm going to make a little bit of a diagram. I just made it up. I just thought it would be helpful in terms of deciphering between the two. In both worlds, we have two different things that we can find, right? Two different four-step processes. What are the two different steps? Yeah, confidence interval. Yeah, exactly. So confidence interval or significant test. Okay, so I'm going to put CI or significant test. Now, I think the big thing is knowing like when is it a significance test and when is it a confidence interval, right? We just saw beforehand they can kind of be related in some regards, but a lot of times on an FRQ it is separate, okay? So could you help me? What are some words that I'm looking for to decipher between whether it's confidence interval or significance test? Good. So a lot of times it'll say construct an interval. Nice. Good. Someone else give me one.
If they give you a confidence level.
Yeah, if they give me a confidence level, right? I know that may seem like basic, but it's true. So if I say like 95% confidence or something along those lines, that's a good one, right? Good. Sarah?
Test of significance.
Yeah, test of significance, we could definitely put. Test of significance. Good. What's another way of just deciphering between the two? Alpha level? Yep. So if I see alpha level, that is a significance test. Good, and I put 0.05, but it could be whatever. What's something else? A hypothesis, good. The null or the alternative, y'all are bad. I'm sorry. Yeah, the null or the alternative. What else is there? Anything else? Convincing evidence. What would that go under? The test, yeah. Convincing evidence. And I think that's it, okay? So a lot of times they're not trying to trick you. They're really, is it hot in here?
Yeah.
I feel like I'm burning up in here. Okay. Let's see, turn it on, cool. There we are. Cool, it's coming. As we look at this, they're not trying to trick you, bless you. They're really just allowing you to see like it's either one or the other, okay? Also, to this point, when we look at this, do we have to have a null and alternative hypothesis over here? No, I saw that a lot yesterday, okay? I didn't really count off for it because it was just extra, but we don't need a null or alternative, okay? We don't need that. Let me do a different color. We don't need the null or the alternative over here, okay? Now, how do I interpret a confidence interval?
Based on our test, we are 90% confident true.
We are 90% confident. Yeah, that's a good one. John Michael, I saw your hand. How do we interpret a significance test?
We say whether we have evidence to
Good.
reject the null or not.
So we reject or fail to reject. Yeah, we never can accept. We can always just reject or fail to reject. Now, if I reject the null, then the alternative is true. So I guess that is accepting, but we only can accept if we reject the null hypothesis. Do we see the differences here? Y'all okay on that? All right, this stuff can also go over here. Y'all follow me? Y'all follow me there? Okay, cool. All right, with this confidence interval, we can have how many samples? One or two, right? And with the significance test, we can have one or two. Okay, you get the idea, right? We can have one or we can have two. We can have one or we can have two, okay? All right, are you with me so far? So technically, we have 8 tests we can possibly have, right? Right? Now, sometimes it's one, sometimes it's two, right? But we can have one or we can have two. Let's see how much you know about the types of tests we have. So what is a one sample confidence interval that's in mean world? What do we call that?
One sample.
One sample t-test. There you are. Yeah. Oh, hold up. T-interval. I even mess up on that too. One sample t-interval. John Michael and Sarah, that's right. Y'all kind of combined together there. So one sample t-interval. Catherine, what would be the two? What would be the only difference if I went two? Two sample t-interval. You follow me? Are you following me? Okay? So you could just do the same thing, 2, and then I'm just going to do the ditto sign, okay? All right, good. 1, what about a significance test, mean world, 1 sample, what do we call that? Or someone raise their
One.
hand and get me. Lindsay?
One sample T.
Yeah, 1 sample t-test. 1 sample t-test. What about 2?
2 sample t-cells.
That's it. That's all it is. It's the same thing, okay? You follow me? Each of these are on your calculator, and you can find them using your calculator. Now, actually, I'll hold off on that. Let's keep going here. What about, Brianna, what would the 1 confidence interval in P-World be called?
It would be a 1 proportion
Nice.
Z test.
Z
Interval.
interval. Good. And then this would just be 2 of the same thing. Cool? All right. Next thing, what about a 1, Shane, do you want to try it out? Nice, 1 proportion Z test. And then the second one would be just 2, right? Okay, so here we go. 1 proportion Z test. And then this would just be 2 with the ditto sign, okay? All right, as we write that, does that help at all?
Yes.
Okay? Question, do we struggle with knowing proportion versus mean? I think that one's a little more obvious, right? That's a little easier. I would say in knowing what one I'm using, start highlighting things that you're finding, right? Is it P-World? Is it mean world? Find it. How many samples do I have? Find it. And then am I talking about a confidence interval or significance test? And then execute. Got me? John Michael? Got something?
For me, it's not as much like mean or proportion or confidence or significance. It's what goes with each. Like,
Oh,
what do
yeah.
I need to write for each? Like,
Yeah.
like
That's really good.
I forgot that I didn't need the null and alternative for the confidence intervals.
No, that makes a lot of sense. Hey, big picture, we'll just say big picture here. We call it the general formula. The general formula for a confidence interval, I'll put it right down below, would be what? Estimate?
Plus or minus.
Yep, plus or minus margin of error, right? Okay? Now, there's a lot of pieces to that, right? But that's the overarching theme, specifically on the do phase, right? The difference between the two is really in the do phase, right? I feel like the conclude we were pretty good on. We've done so many of them. It's really in the do phase, and that's where we really need to make sure we kind of hone in, right? Hone in on that. And to that point, what do we not have to show work on in our do phase? I'm almost done, well, then we'll go to the activity today.
2.
Yeah, anything that's 2, right? Any 2 stuff, just plug it into our calculator. On the do phase, plug it into our calculator. You do not have to show work on the do phase, which may help us when we go to, the confidence interval and significance test on that part. The plane phase, the state plan, the plane phase is the same, right? The state plan, what's the difference between the 2? There's only really one thing. We kind of already said it.
Having
The
the
central
null.
theorem or the law of large counts.
Oh, yeah, that's true for the 2 worlds, for the plane phase. Exactly right.
The null.
But it's really the null and the alternative in the state part, right? I don't know if that helps at all. But I think it's just kind of getting into it and just comparing them and maybe even doing them, especially on the 10.2 homework. That may help, too. That might be helpful, too. Yeah, Lindsay.
In the state part,
Yeah.
like when it says like on our guided notes and it says statistic, would we put p hat 1 minus p hat 2 or p hat and then write out the number of proportions like we did before?
Exactly. So this would be like p hat 1 minus p hat 2. And then I would just show the work. So if 78 out of 100 was p hat 1 and 50 out of 100 was p hat 2, then you would just put what that statistical difference would be. Great question. And you would do that in all of those, all 8 of them. That's there. Okay? You good, Shane?
When do we use the combined proportions?
The combined one. Oh, great question. That's a great question. So the pool you will only pool in one place. Do you remember what place that was? I've got some good tickets right. I have 2 right here. You could raise your hand and tell me what is the one place we pull out of the 8 tests?
2 proportions.
Is it 2?
What's that? 2 proportion what?
Z test.
Great. Because remember, what are we assuming over here? We're assuming P1 minus P2 is equal to 0, right? We're assuming this to be true, and therefore, down on the 2 proportion Z, did you say interval or test? Test, which was perfect. We would say that down here, this would be P combined within our stuff. In fact, there was one on the quiz on that, right? That was pooled. It was pooled on that. Okay, Chloe?
But isn't it mean Z, or is it T? So pool would be.
Oh, hold up. I put it at the wrong side, didn't I? I meant to put it on proportion world. So, Jacqueline said it right. I just put it in the wrong spot. So it's over here. Some of you are probably trying to stop me on that. But that would be for 2 proportion Z test right there on that side. Cool? All right, help? I hope it did. I just thought about that, and I was like, just a breather before we get into the next section. I wanted to make sure we kind of took a deep breath and just kind of put it all together and kind of helped us, okay? Sarah?
Those those organizers that we had, like where it would have all the steps to everything.
Mhm.
I forget, like we had them before the test, like last test. Those helped like a ton. With like kind of organizing the like formulas and all the things we need.
Within each one,
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Is there a way that we could maybe put one of those together? Maybe I could do that for the study session. Maybe like put them all 4. There'll be a lot there. Because we're looking at all the 2 proportion and 2 sample stuff. But it might be good just to John Michael, and your point, is to say, okay, this is what you would do in the state part for this test. This is what you would, and just have it all 4, maybe side by side. That's good. I can maybe try to do that. I like that. Good stuff, Sarah. Okay, I've got 2 more tests. You ready for this? I know you're like, oh my gosh. Here's the good news. We're finishing off with this one. It's very, very similar to ones we've done before. Okay, very similar. This is called matched pairs. Okay? In fact, it was one of the questions on the quiz. It was actually the answer. Shane called that out the other day. It was actually the answer to the question. I threw that question out. So when you did the quiz, I threw that out because it was just one kind of introducing what we're doing today. Matched pairs is simple, okay? It is 2 samples with 1 population. Can someone give me an example of 2 samples that come from 1 population when we usually compare things? Lindsay, do you know?
Like testing average SAT scores for like AP Stats class and pre-calc class from GAC.
I like that. I would probably, in that situation, use a 2-sample t-test, mainly because 2 different populations. Does that make sense? Can you maybe tweak it just a little bit? It's a good thought. Trying to tweak it just a little bit to where it's the same population. Catherine?
Can I say like two group of like students from the SAT test, like random stuff?
That would still be 2 sample because why? 2 different populations. Does that make sense? I have two samples from 2 different populations of people.
From the same population, right? Like both from the same, like from all students who take SAT like tests.
May I tweak this a little bit? Usually this comes from the same person. The same person engages with this 2 different samples. Does that make sense? Do you have something, Sarah?
Like SATs on different dates, like my like scores across like March versus June or something.
Yeah, so SAT scores between the first time and the second time people do it. How about that? Does that make sense? Same people, the first versus the second. How about like a pre versus post test? Y'all remember? I mean, y'all have done that before. Take a pre-test, right? I'm the same person. I take a pre-test, I do the stuff, and then I take a post-test, and then I measure the difference, okay? All right, to kind of help with this, we're going to have some fun with it. I'm going to give you a minute, and I want you to memorize these terms, okay? The words that you see behind me. You have 1 minute to memorize as many as you possibly can, okay? You cannot write these down. Are you ready? Set. Go. Memorize them.
How about this?
Memorizing as many as you can. All right, off to the side of your paper, put down as many as you can remember. Go. Put down as many as you can remember. Hate that one. Write down as many as you can. Okay, count them up. As how many ever you got? See if how many you you got here. Just check. This is just a check here. Same list as behind me. You give yourself a score out of, I don't even know how many are there. Out of, what is there, like 20, 69? It's about maybe 25. Put as many, how many ever that you got right. Put those down. Okay.
There's 23.
23. There you are, right there. Love it.
You can have it.
7.
The R is there.
So, yeah, so I'm not counting.
Is that you got
Yeah,
all of them?
doesn't count.
I thought I memorized.
How many of
all
you
them.
got 8? You got 12? Hold up, you got 12?
It's 12 tickets.
Oh, 12 tickets. That would be good. That'd be good. All right, here's what we're going to do now. This time, I want to show you something. This is pretty intriguing. This time, when I give you the next list, I want you to think of each word as if it is related to you, okay? So this is not the list, obviously. You're going to do a different list. But if I was to do this, maybe I'm just giving you an example. When I see the word idolize this time, I'm going to read it, and I just think of my dad. That was always someone that I idolized in my life. So I'm going to think about him. And in turn, instead of memorizing words, I'm memorizing things that happened to me. See if this helps us recall things, okay? We're just going to try to see. So here we go. You're going to get 1 minute again. Different list. You cannot write it down. Ready, set, and let's go.
Oh, it's
Different lists. All right. See how many you can write down. Go. All right, go as far as you can. Write as many as you possibly can there. Is anyone still writing? Okay, you ready? And check. See on the part B. Okay, so we call this method B. So on method A, you're going to check. Give yourself a score. Method B, give yourself a score. When you are done, you're going to come up here and you're going to put for you what you got for A, what you got for B, and then you're going to subtract A from B to get your difference. Okay? Does that make sense? Brianna, do you have both of yours?
Yes.
What was your first one?
My first one was 7,
Okay. What was the second one?
10.
Okay. So your score was a -3 for your difference. Okay. So you're going to come up, take a sticker, and put a dot right on -3. So you're only graphing the difference. Okay. Everyone's going to do that. When you are done, I'm going to also transfer this over with what's behind me, and so just get it down in your notes so you've got it. Okay. So up here, right here, and then transfer it over. Okay. Go. Let's do it. 7, 10. Did everyone improve on the second one? No?
Okay, bad. I did bad.
You did worse on the second one?
I did worse.
Had more stuff in common,
I was thinking.
so it was easy for me to
Which could be,
yeah.
which could skew it, yeah.
Like it has like empowerment and like
Those are 4 words in a row that related to a podcast I was watching.
Oh, really?
Like World War I. So
Are you a history buff?
I hate history in class, but I like listening to history podcasts.
Really?
I'm interested.
That's really cool. That's really cool. Right now, I'm watching a show called Turn. You probably would really like it. It's about Revolutionary War spies. And like a guy that basically he works for the British Army. And he's a spy for the rebels. So it's so good.
Sounds interesting.
Very intriguing.
Oh.
What do we do?
You go over your multiple choice answers, and then if you get to review, that's your essay. It was chill day.
I think Fiona in the last class got a difference of 11. Yeah. I have no idea how that
I
happened.
don't know if I believe that much yet.
In the class.
That's a big difference.
Oh,
That's
on
huge.
making
She got like 10 the first time and 20. I mean 11 the first time. That's crazy. You're like 2 13. I did one better.
That's just mine. Oh wait, no, it's not.
12, 13. -1. 5, 8, -3. Did I do that one?
Oh my god.
Oh my.
Wait.
Oh, I was trying to hold it. There you go.
Oh, there we go.
Yes.
Did you say I broke a camera, Chloe? Is that what you just said?
I said I want to get one for spring break. She also
That
is
would be
getting a
cool.
wig. Yeah, I want a wig.
I knew which ones it
9, 10, 3, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12. I'm missing someone. 6, 7, -1, 8,
You know
4.
what you lie? You can always say,
Anyway, I think that's the idea there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hey, do this. Get down this dot plot. That's really important. Just get this down real quick. We'll talk over this as far as like what this means, what it looks like here. Tony, do you have something?
I do. What do you mean?
Say again?
Question?
What's that?
What is it? Like, I have questions.
Yeah, did you have a question?
No, I don't.
You're good? Sarah, did you get the 4 then?
I was.
You're the 4? Yeah.
I feel.
Oh,
I
it's
was
all
a
good.
0.
It's all good.
I was a 0 touchdown.
You were the 0?
I was on me.
It's like the perfect
Thank you.
middle. All right, so once you get this down, I'm going to go to the one variable statistic over here, and I'm just going to plug just the difference in. So I'll plug in all of our differences. So we have -3. Could someone shout those out? -3.
-1,
Perfect.
-3,
Got it.
-1, 1,
1, my fault. Positive 1,
Oh, it is.
negative 1, good.
It's
Negative 3,
-1.
yep,
0.
yep,
-1.
My score.
yep.
-3.
Wait, there was a
There was a positive one.
Is there a positive 1?
Yeah.
Pudding
Negative
chocolate.
one.
11 minus 10.
So there is one positive.
Put the 1 on the thing. I was looking at the-
Negative
the
1.
dot plot.
1 and 4. Is that it? Is that it right there?
Oh yeah, they put it on the.
Yeah, nobody put it on the dot plot. That's why I said there wasn't a 1.
Whose was
Gotcha.
it?
There's still, no, there's still 4 -1s. That I think this is the two, but I know.
We just didn't put a dot on there. We won't call them out.
Who was it? Brianna?
He did mine.
Whoa! I didn't put the dot on though.
I did.
Oh, you
But
didn't
it
touch
wasn't one though.
it. It's all good. All right, so once we go to calc, we're going to go to one variable statistics. We're just going to get what the sample mean. So we got the sample mean of negative 0.818. Okay, so we got negative 0.818. And this is called the mu. I'm sorry, no, is this the mu? No, it's a sample, isn't it? X bar, and we're going to call it diff. X bar diff. What do you think diff stands for?
Difference.
Difference, yeah. Can someone tell me why this is a matched pair?
Because it's the same
Same people, but
Two different
methods.
two methods. We just took the difference of them. That's why we call it matched pair. Okay? That's why we call it matched pair. All right, so as we're looking at this, what does 0 mean?
They got the same amount.
One sample got it.
Exactly. It's evidence that there's no difference. Would you agree with that? Okay, so we're going to say that there's no difference between A and B, right? Between method A and B. Anything to the right side, what Sarah did for her, showed that what? What's evidence that? What
There
is
is a difference.
B is
difference
worse.
and that what's greater?
A is greater.
A is greater or better, however you want to put it. Everyone to the left side shows what?
B is greater than is greater.
B is greater, okay? What does that show?
A is still greater.
A is still greater? Is that what Sarah's saying?
Technically.
It's possible.
That the memory technique works. If C is greater than the memory technique.
Yeah, so like when you're looking at, and this is not for everybody, right? And this is, I'm not saying this, that we have statistical significance, but based on this, we have some evidence to say that B, when we have something that kind of triggers our mind towards what we're looking at, that it actually will maybe allow us to have better memorization techniques, right? Possibly. Now, do we have statistical significance?
We don't know.
We don't know yet.
We don't know. That's the key, right? You see that? We have evidence that B could be better, but we don't have statistical significance, and therefore we have to do a what?
A test.
A test of some kind, right? Now for us, we're going to do an interval first, and then we'll go into the test, okay? So let's go here. When we go to our parameter, what is the mu diff of this one? Again, only one variable because we did the difference of matched pairs, right? Difference of matched pairs. What is the true parameter of mu diff?
The true
Mu.
mean of true difference. And
Yeah, so true difference between methods A and B. Would you agree with that? Okay, so true difference of method A to B. I like it. And you could talk about words remembered or anything along those lines, but that'd be good. What was our statistic?
Negative.
-0.818.
-0.818. I like it. Both of y'all. Good. Confidence level would be? Yeah, it just says 95%, so we're going to put it up above, okay? By the way, John Michael, you were talking earlier. This is all I need for all confidence intervals.
Okay.
You follow me? Nothing more on the state part, okay?
So just parameter, statistic, and confidence.
That's it. Now, the only other thing that you would need, first of all, you'd have alpha level for significance test, but the only other thing is our Nolan alternative, right? So that would be the additional thing that we'd have there. What is the name of the procedure?
matched pairs.
No, it would be a one.
That's good thought, but there is no match pairs. It's a good thing.
The one sample Z.
One sample. Oh, keep talking. What'd you say? T, because we're talking mean. Good. T interval. Bless you. I know that was delayed. T interval. Yes. Very good. Good stuff. Okay. Condition 1. What do we know about condition 1?
Random.
Is it random?
Yes.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Wait, Shay,
Yes.
why is it not match pairs? I'm confused. Oh, that's what we were doing.
Are we talking about the name of the procedure? Is that what you're talking about there? Good question. The match pairs comes from how we sampled, right? We did method 1, we did method 2, we found the difference, and now what did we do? We're just caring about what the difference is, right? And the reason why we're doing the difference is it's the same people. We just did 2 different things, a pre and a post, or method A to method B, and then we're comparing that difference there, okay? Now, when we go to this, we're still using one of our tests, right? But instead, we're only going to take mu difference, and we use just the mean of the sample difference. And because of that, we're only going to have one sample. We're going to do an interval, and since we're talking about mean, we're going to use our T. Does that help you?
So match pairs is just ways to find the difference, and now we're testing to see if the difference is.
Correct. Now, what's the difference between this and match pairs, or the what we did earlier of one sample T interval and a match pairs interval? The difference is we subtracted method A to method B to find what our mean difference would be. But we've only have how many statistics? How many statistics do I have? I just have 1. Right? Do you remember with the 2, it was like x bar 1 minus x bar 2? Well, we don't have 1 and 2. We just have the difference, right? The difference from all of method A to method B. Okay? Y'all follow me on this?
Yes.
Cool beans. Okay. Number 1, random. Number 2, what do we show?
10% condition.
10% condition. Do I need to show this?
Check.
Can we skip this? Are we good?
What?
I know, I'm about ready to, go ahead. Are we good? Y'all know how to show that, right? I think we're good on that. We've done that like a bazillion times, all right? Don't tell the...
Yeah, I was like, no.
Oh, yeah, no. Just right here, yeah. Please show. Put a note here, put show, okay? That doesn't mean skip it on the test. I could see that. Step 3. Step 3. Okay. Does it say that the...
No.
Oh, goodness. The population... Oh, my word. I'm going to cuss. No, the population... I can't say that, sorry. The population distribution is not normal. What about the central limit theorem?
False.
No, it fails.
Yep.
So what should we then go to?
Nothing.
All right, this is the pit, right?
It's got an outlier.
That's tragic.
That's normal. That's normal.
All right.
I ain't never seen it.
No. No.
Oh,
All right, now, are we good? Yeah, we're good now. So we're going to say no major skew.
Wait, then do we need to redo our mean? Or our statistic?
We'll be okay. We'll go roll. I'm breaking every rule as it is. I'm not showing work.
Dude, I feel
Was it because you
my
had to
God.
report you to the AP stats?
Spit on it, dude.
I did. I kind of.
Board of
What do you
Ethics.
say?
Report you to the AP stats board for
Yeah. I'm gonna feel
incorrect
like.
stats.
Do you know you actually have to get your class approved? I might not get it approved now.
I'm telling you.
It'd be bad. It'd be bad.
How
All right.
Is there survey?
So then we could go. We could approximate this as normal, right?
Well,
Kind of. Kind of. All right. Yeah. So
Lindsay.
let's go to the next one. General formula. So, by the way, question: do I have to show work on the due phase?
yes.
Why?
Because it's only one sample.
It's only a 1 sample. Okay?
Okay.
Be careful on that. Okay? I can check with my calculator, but I still have to show work for here. So what's my general formula?
Estimate plus or minus margin of error.
Oh, I know y'all love this. Oh man,
Wow.
someone's angry.
I know.
Plus or minus margin of error. The specific formula. What is the estimate?
X bar difference.
Oh, x bar diff. Nicely done. Plus or minus. What's the margin of error?
T-star.
T star. What do we call T star? Oh, critical value.
Oh.
Okay,
All the tickets in your hand. Oh.
What follows this?
Standard. Yeah.
Standard deviation
Standard
of
error.
Hold up.
S x squared over.
Yeah. S of x over square root of n.
It's not the big.
How do you do
This is
that?
not proportional.
Did you say that?
Look at that.
She did. So did I.
Oh my god.
Really?
Coach Jay, look
That
how you
worked?
did your
Coach
notes.
Jay, you messed up my notes.
Did I?
You messed
Yes,
up
you
mine
did
as
square root. You erased it.
I'm sorry.
Use a square root
Is
over.
that?
That was sarcastic.
I'm so sorry. All right, coming back. That was y'all created this. Y'all created this.
We created a
All right, x bar
well. Knocked out.
x bar div would be negative 0.818, right? Plus or minus, and we're rolling t star. What would t star be?
1.96.
1.96 because it's what?
95%.
Good.
Yay.
Hold up. Is it
That's Z.
1.96? I
That's
think
Z.
that's Z.
That's Z world.
Oh,
We need to find T. How do we find
Let's
T?
see.
Take away her tickets.
Takeaway tickets.
That's -1.
And that's it. Let's go.
Wait, how do you?
I'm the teardrop. Have a
Good
great day.
night. Oh, thank you.
So how to find it?
The table, right?
Your ticket
Yeah.
was like.
T star.
Oh
That
my
would be
God,
TCDF.
Coach Jay.
Where I could go into that. I could also. I probably go to table
This is
C.
really good class.
Yes.
Chloe, I didn't mean to be mean to you. You were next to Brianna. And then,
So,
It's
you,
like-
okay.
I was like,
Like,
that's how it goes.
You don't
Labor goes
apologize
away,
to
really.
Coach Jay. You just are sassy. And
Yeah.
I'm not. I'm no. I know.
Who's this new math teacher? Because I don't know. Who's Coach Jay? I know.
It's what it is. Y'all created this.
Favorite teacher?
Not Coach
Coach
Jay.
Jay. I took away my. I'm putting
Out the window now. Yeah. Here. My apologies.
Wait, so for interval, we don't have to draw a picture, right? Just making sure for the homework. I drew it. I'm not done with it. I'm like halfway through.
All right. Thank you, man. Yeah. No, you do not have to. So the T. I'd like
Wait,
to draw
you
it.
drew it on your podcast from Friday, so then I got confused.
I did because I like to draw it just to show it.
But we don't have to.
You don't have to.
Okay, because
I
I didn't know what to shade. Like I knew what to shade, but I didn't know what to label it as.
So this middle would be my x bar diff, or whatever the middle of the statistic is, and then my left bound, right bound would produce
Would that be t-test?
my 95% interval, right? Does that make sense? See y'all. See you, Lindsay. You follow me on that? That's what we were looking at
Okay.
there. I just usually use it there. Did you get my email?
Yes.
Perfect.
Yeah,
I just wanted to make sure we.
No, yeah. I was finishing up my 10.1 in my study hall today, so I'll get that to you tonight.
Great.
And I should finish my 10.2 on time, and I should have that in tonight too.
Perfect. I know it was crazy, so I'm not gonna take. I'll probably take some off, but I'll
Oh yeah,
take major off.
that's totally fair.
I just wanted. I just saw it and I was like, oh man. I know last week was crazy for you, so I
Yeah.
just wanted to make